is derived from the leaves of the coca plant. When cocaine enters the body, it has a strong effect on body functions by acting as an irritant on the brain. Large overdose of cocaine causes convulsions, then death. Cocaine causes unusual and often unpredictable feelings and actions. In his ignorance, Marty took that dare, little knowing the eventual horror that lay in the deadly white powder.
Marty, have you seen the painting shears I bought last week? Can't seem to find them anywhere. Marty, you don't seem right. I'm worried about you. There's something wrong. I'm going to take you down to Dr. Richard this afternoon for a checkup.
No, I'm all right.
As his body gradually built up intolerance, he needed more and more of the drug.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on. So in my headphones, the music sounds really slow-mo. So hopefully that's not happening with the listeners' end. Let's just shut it off. Good evening, Bridge Sky here. K.I.S.S Recovery 101 podcast. Guess what? I'm messing with you. I am happy to say I'm not alone. You do not have to hear me solo reflect tonight. Do you want to introduce yourself, surprise, awesome guest?
Yo, Ange in recovery and free indeed.
Welcome, Ange. Thank you for doing this on the fly. So, I have decided I am at a point in my life. This kind of is going to go on a tangent here, solo reflection, where I'm taking space and I'm really being intentional with pretty much everything I do, especially outside my home. Service, work, the separate things. Service, work projects I take, relationships, friendships, all those things. I'm having an intention to really pause and really focus on the things that bring joy and purpose to my life, because I'm at this complacent stage. This happens to me quite often, but it's really I'm really at a standstill right now. So, and I really feel like every single day of my life, there's not enough time in the day. And it's frustrating. So, with this podcast, here's where I'm at. Now, if you used to listen consistently, you might have noticed I've missed a few weeks here and there. I've been trying to be consistent. I'm consistent when I know I have a co-host or somebody with me. But when it takes more effort to try to find a guest, or even like tonight, write a paragraph that makes sense for other people, it makes me lose passion for it. Okay, just being open and honest here. So, what I've decided, and Ange, you've inspired me. See, just your presence already inspires me. Well, I don't need to do any of that, okay? Doing a podcast is good enough, okay? And I am more confident within myself that I can handle this. So, no matter what, Sundays, guest comes, host comes, or they don't, they flake again on me. Not naming any names. It's okay. I'm still just going to come on here, and I'm okay with being by myself, and people can turn it off. They don't have to listen. That's the nice thing. YouTube is out there to listen to later, but you all could just hit that stop button. Here's the nice thing, guys. It's live for a reason. I do actually want you to interact. I would love your feedback. Ooh, and this topic just came to me literally on the way over here. So you said yes. I'm like, get in the car, we're going. And driving over here, I'm like, let's talk about it's none of your damn business. None of ya. That's what I tell my children. None of ya. They ask yourself, it's not the business. But really, do you want to elaborate what I mean by, because that's part of the sentence. When someone says it's none of your business, I remember hearing this, and I was offended at first. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about, and I have a funny saying that goes along with it. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got them.
Love it.
And sometimes it's valid, right? Sometimes we need to hear the hard stuff, the feedback. That's why we have trusted people in our lives, and we're going to be talking about who our circles are and who we surround ourselves with. But mostly, for me, I can only focus on my values and what is important to me and what is giving me life. If I let other people's opinions tear me down, then I'm giving my power away. So I definitely need to remember that other people's opinions could be valid, could be life-changing, and I need to just focus on what is in my best interest and my truth. So yeah, it's going to help me learn more about myself today as well. Thanks.
Okay, that was beautiful. Anytime I hear the word opinion, I go right to the asshole thing. Because the truth is, yes, I believe that constructive, conversations or opinions, criticism, whatever, is welcomed when I welcome it, right? Or someone asks, for that. But suggestions, advice, any of that stuff, I want that to come from someone who knows me, right? Or at least cares and loves me. And but again, I ask for it, just not putting it out there. But I call the inner circle people. Those are the people that I do need to tell me like it is, okay? And I will remind them too, like, I want you to hurt my feelings. Because a lot of times I don't see these things. My brain likes to protect myself unknowingly. And I'm not aware that I'm doing it again. So I think it's all in perception. That's where we're going tonight. So I remember when someone told me, it was Christine. Shout out, Christine. She was like, someone told her this, and when I heard it, they go, what someone else thinks of you is none of your business. I go, ew, that sounds rude. But how is that possible to not think about all the time what people are thinking about you, right? None of my business, but it's me. It's their thoughts, what they're saying, what they're doing. It's about me. Shouldn't I have a say in it? Shouldn't I care? Or, doesn't it make sense to care? And so I had to marinate on it for a while. And I found that it was perfect timing because I found this beautiful book called The Four Agreements that spells everything out in such a beautiful, whimsical way, but it all, for me, connected the dots. So, Edge, do you mind reading, or you want me to read? There's 4 major agreements. Number 1's the most important, okay? But number 2, I think, is rooted in this is how you are not I was able to stop worrying about what other people thought about me. In fact, I sit today, I don't give a shit at all, most of the time. The only people I really care about, the people that I really think about what they think of me is the people that I love. The people, my friendships, my relationships. I do want to know what they think, but honestly, it's not my first thought anymore. It's probably like my 5th thought. And I sometimes have to back up and be like, "Ooh, Sarah, was I rude right there? Did I say something rude? And she's so nice. Like, she'll catch me in other conversations and she'll be like, well, you're kind of intimidating. I'm like, I'm intimidating? Really? Like, so clue me in. So, but yeah, so 4 agreements, Miguel Rodriguez, Luis Rodriguez, I think it is. Anyway, changed my life, that book. Get it. But the second agreement is don't take anything personally. Do you want to just read a little bit from that?
Yep. Don't take anything personally. The second agreement leads on from the first. Be impeccable with your word, and teaches how to respond when faced with someone who is not following the first agreement. It helps guide you on how to react when a person uses their words or actions against you. I'm totally going to go off on a tangent of being an addict and just the way that I think or worry or tend to go to an extreme. First thought wrong, right? So I really wish that was my first thought, is first thought wrong. That would help me circumvent a lot of dysfunctional rabbit holes that my brain can tend to go into. What's great about being in recovery is that we can build new pathways with our brain, and we can take these times, these moments, and be intentional and focus on awareness and really tune into what's going to be most effective. So when I'm not taking something personally, I could probably talk for the whole hour about everybody's perception, and everything is relative, right? So no one's going to think the same way that I think. Nobody experiences what I experience. And somehow we're all intertwined together. It's almost like on a metaphysical level or realm that I don't know a lot about, and I'm not a professional in, so I'm not going to speak on that necessarily. All I know is when I come into these rooms and when I share my truth and I hear other people share their truth, then I don't need to judge them. And that's also what DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, taught me, to just not have judgmental opinions about what I'm thinking or what's happening around me, just to be factual. I do know that my passion and purpose is really to love on and connect with others, and I do that through listening and sharing my experiences. So I am grateful to be in recovery today.
Beautiful. And I could go off of 10 different things you just said, too. One thing I definitely, okay, just to sum up everything you said, the first thing came to mind is think about what I'm thinking. That is not easy, okay? So it takes time and practice to think about the thoughts in my head. Now, I've always been a good listener. I've always been not social. So I've always listened. That's my go-to. And so when I've gotten this confidence and I do want to talk, I have to like take a break sometimes, especially if I'm new meeting somebody, or if it's somebody, I start getting building this relationship with them, friendship, and my instinct is I want to protect them. I want to keep them safe. I want to be there for them, but I need to think about where my thoughts are going. Now, taking it to another level, here's something interesting, Ange. I'm in this whole minimalist. I've always been a minimalist, but I'm really taking it to a deeper level, because minimalism is not just about love people, use things. Okay, that's their whole MO code. It's so much deeper than that. And I did not realize that your environment, your home, wherever you're living, I constantly have thoughts going, on my unconscious level going through my head because of my environment. Now, as a mom and having several kids, that's different. I think, though, that's why I've always clung to minimalism, because I find the less stuff that's around me and distracting me makes my life so much easier. But literally, I did this one day, okay? This Japanese guy, they were talking about how he said, you have no control over this, but go ahead and just scan your fucking house. Okay, I did this is scary. And go ahead, just see where your brain goes through, okay? So I'm just being about my business, about my day. Guess what? He was right. Whether you realize it or not, your brain is putting thousands of thoughts through your head, and a lot of them, my brain gets filled up with unimportant things. Oh, dishes. That's right. I got to do the dishes. Oh, dang it. I need a new sponge. Oh, shit. Who cares? Stop. Go finish what you were doing, which was I was just going to grab some tea or whatever. Then I walk into the other room. Oh, there's that guitar, my stupid ukulele. You haven't played it. Why? Because you're a procrastinator. Whoa, there goes my thoughts again. Constant intrusive thoughts, okay? And they're not negative necessarily, some of them. Some of them will go on and on. But just, I literally had to start writing down. I had to stop at one point because there's just so many thoughts that are wasted just on my environment around me, okay? So I've been trying to really cleanse out my area, and I would suggest just having one area, start with a bedroom or a spot in the basement, whatever, that it is your Zen space, that you don't have these distracting things that make my brain think about so many unconscious things that I don't even want it. I waste my time thinking about. So, and it goes deep though, and that explains why when I was in toxic environments, that was negative energy all over. But why every night I go to bed, not every night, I feel unsatisfied with my life. Okay, I'm speaking my truth just where I sit today, right? Why do I feel that way? I feel accomplished. You're raising your head.
Yeah.
But before I pass by to you, here's where I'm at. I should not be. It takes me at least 5 minutes because I do a check-in every night.
Don't shit on yourself.
Don't shit on myself. I love that. I'm seriously asking myself, why does it take me 5 minutes when I'm reflecting on my day to be like, oh, yeah, that's right. I did accomplish that. That's a good thing. Oh, I did have that good quality moment with my son. Okay, that's a good thing. But usually it takes me a while because I feel restless. I feel unsatisfied. And I realize now it's because my time is being wasted on things that I don't find joy in. that I don't find satisfaction in. So, take the mic.
Yes, I'm just going to piggyback on all of that. What you were talking about just reminded me of inventory. I hate to be like a big book thumper. This program does have a design for living that works if you work it. And along with our defects or things we struggle with, there's our assets. So, like you're saying, the things that we did well for the day, I guess a to-do list might help where you can check things off. Make a to-do list. Check that off. And I can tend to be really hard on myself. So there we go again with the intrusive thoughts. And really, I just need to keep practicing ways to grow. Sometimes, we were talking about this earlier, sometimes we have to grow through the hard stuff. We have to experience the pain and the trauma. We were also kind of going off on a tangent about ADHD. So we have these traits, right? These things we've picked up and learned along the way in our lives. And with toxicity, my ADHD is kind of like in heaven. So I'm focusing on the toxic nature. I'm focusing on what I can do differently. When we actually have a moment to have clarity and peace, it's like hard to just be. And I love that practice when I can be mindful and try to accept the things I cannot change. I just wanted to go backwards really quick on the 4 agreements, and they all coincide with recovery and any type of, I guess you could say, self-help, just working on loving myself and others. The 4 agreements are: 1, be impeccable with your word. 2, don't take anything personally. It's like when someone says don't, what do you want to do? Probably do it. But anyways, don't. Number 3, don't make assumptions. You know what assumptions do? They make an so do you and me when I assume. Number 4, always do your best. Always, that's kind of definitive. I definitely know that I try. I think there's an awareness to be had of doing what I can with what I have. I don't wake up every day and strive to be the best. I mean, aim for the moon and land on a star or whatever, right? All I know is that it's I'm just speaking and whatever. Yeah, progress, not perfection. What are those called? Little quips. I can't think of the word. But yeah, I'm really excited to be on this journey with you, Bridge. And I know that you have a lot of wisdom, and it takes a lot of love and dedication to do what you do. And I'm appreciative of all of it.
Well, and you're just good juju, and you're good wisdom too. Like, I feel like no matter what capacity our relationship is in, I feel like I grow just in your presence. Seriously, you're a very wise, loving service person too. And so, like, your passion fuels my passion, and your heart makes my heart feel more warm. Because I can be cold-hearted, let me tell you. And, but seriously, like, your fire, like, you're the spark that I need. Okay, because that's where I'm at. I need people like you. I need people like Sarah and Andrea. Those are the people that keep my fire going. Because it goes out. Lately, it's been going out real quickly. But I would say that, okay, here, number 4 for me, right? That's been a liability my whole life. Because the expectations.
Like that. Liability, not defect.
Yeah, my whole life. Because in my mind, my expectations for myself. See, I always still believe quality over quantity, right? Everything I'm going to do is going to be to the best of my ability. Unfortunately, that trickled into perfectionism, okay? So I like to say I'm a retired perfectionist now. I learned at DBT, the enemy of good is perfect, okay? And that took me, I was like, I don't get it. That don't make sense. It took me a minute. And I realized, this should have came easy. I feel, no shitting. It never came easy to me, like that simple concept. That's why I do this podcast. Keep it simple, okay? So make it good. Make it solid. Now when I plan anything, even if it's a meeting, even if it's just to go share my story, even if it's a Barbie movie get-together next week, make sure I got the good, solid pieces first. Then I can trickle in all the greatness of all the ideas and whatever I want to make it. But finding that pearl allows me to, quality and the good, important pieces. All the fun stuff can come later. Where I sit now, I'm like, okay, get the good stuff done, and I can pawn off all the great, because I get OCD on stuff. So I let my friends that enjoy doing that stuff. You guys do all that stuff. Ooh, there's our first alarm. Ooh, that reminds me. There's other people. Okay, so listeners, again, it's been crickets. I get it. I've been a while. I've been away. You don't believe in me anymore. Seriously, comment it up. Say hi. Have you read the Four Agreements? What do you think of number 2? Don't take anything personally. Let's get into the other book I brought. But please comment away questions, viewpoints, opinions. I have not read this whole book, but Sarah, it's called The Tree-Spirited Woman, Colleen Baldrica. Fantastic perception, okay? This gave me the other piece of perception I couldn't put into words. It's beautiful. You ready? Okay, so perception is huge, right? And I feel like everyone, no matter what, we will all have our own perceptions of everything. Even if you're right, but you're wrong, you're still going to be right to you.
Yeah,
right?
I'm looking at a 6, you see a 9.
Correct.
I can't say that's wrong.
Right. This is that in a really pretty version. You ready? Wise version. I have ADHD, okay? So since she's sharing this reading with me, I'm picturing the willow tree in Pocahontas.
Oh.
Okay? You ready? Okay, so I'll just read a couple pieces and then you take over. Nobody wants to hear my voice all this time. Okay, it says, I have had many people tell me things they say are true, yet when I talk to someone else, I hear a different story. Can you tell me how I will know who is telling the truth? I asked. Tree-spirited woman looked at me with a sparkle in her eye and started to laugh. What you have said is true. People see situations differently and often argue about what is true. What people do not understand is that what you see or believe is their truth. I would like you to stand next to the birch tree near the large elm. I slowly stood and walked to where she pointed. I couldn't see Tree-Spirited Woman from where I was. The tree was blocking her. Now look closely at the tree and tell me exactly what you see, she directed.
Well, there is a small patch on the birch tree that looks like someone had written on it. There is also a dead branch hanging down, resting against the trunk of the tree, and it looks like the deer may have eaten away at some of its bark. Looking at the tree, she said to me, "That is not my tree you are describing, for there is nothing that looks like writing anywhere on my tree, and it has no dead branches hanging down." "Wait a minute. Are you describing the birch tree here?" I said, moving where she could see me and pointing to the tree. "Yes, that is the one I see, and that is the one I am describing. There is writing or something that looks like writing on it, and a dead branch is hanging down along the side." I insisted. "You are mistaken," she told me. I started to get angry. I knew what I was saying was true. That's when she looked at me with that twinkle in her eye and asked me to come and stand next to her.
Okay. When I was by her side, she began. "Look at my tree and tell me what you see." I looked closely at the tree. There was nothing that looked like writing or a dead branch anywhere. "You're right," I said. "From here, I don't see the writing or the dead branch." It is important to listen to others and to accept that there may be many truths to one story. Tree-Spirited Woman then continued. When people disagree, they fail to understand that both can be right. For every truth, there is an opposite truth. That is the way it is in life.
Sheesh.
Ding! Well, what of the people who intentionally tell lies? I asked.
Uh-oh.
There will be some who intentionally hide the truth. These people are often afraid of what the truth may bring, or they may have the need to impress others by their stories. Unfortunately, these people have yet to learn that not being truthful makes many of their life's problems. Looking into my eyes, she continued, "Do not judge these people harshly. It is not one's place to cast judgment among others." Just then, a deer ran through the woods, startling me. Tree-Spirited Woman slowly stood, looked at me, and said, "It is my sign. The cider is gone, and I am cold." She waited for me to get up, and as I first stepped off the tarp, I sensed her age and her fragility. "Do you need any help?" I asked. Shaking her head, she smiled and said, "I have enjoyed this visit, and I will see you next month." And then I watched as she leisurely left. Okay, but the point was, I didn't read the whole book. But isn't that beautiful? Like, that's a beautiful way to put it, because there's so many people that want to debate me. I refuse to do that, you know? I'll have a dialogue with you, but I'm not going to stand here and debate you. You're right, and I'm obviously right. We're going to agree to disagree at this point. But for the people, those are the conversations I enjoy having. I have many friends that we disagree on we don't have the same opinions or viewpoints on a lot of things. But you know, let me just chime out some things like medically assisted treatment, right? Let's talk about harm reduction. Let's talk about naloxone. Let's talk all those things. I have many friends that do not have the same viewpoint I do. We're still friends, right? So, but again, I think what touched my heart in that reading is I love how she said, like, don't be judging people. You know, like DBT, yes, we're human beings. We're always going to have those judging thoughts, but thinking about my thoughts, okay? And especially if I get, like, I notice a big judgment popping in my head, I'm like, ooh, what's going on with me?
Exactly.
Why is this setting me off? Why am I going there? What's, you know, in my inner child, what's just ringing a bell? So I love that idea of, so for me, to not take things personally. I've definitely, I'm not a master of it yet, okay? But I almost have. I've gotten to a point of mastery with it because literally everything that comes out of anybody's mouth, I know is about them. And I read that from a famous monk or something. I can't remember, but he said that too, and it makes sense. So no matter what, in the book, 4 Agreements, he explained, even if it's a positive thing, even if they're like, you know, I like your sunglasses today. That's because I'm feeling good, and I like myself today, so I like you today, you know. But I mean, you don't have to take it to that extreme, but especially when someone is defensive, especially when someone's, okay, let's talk about my daughter for a second. Anytime she says anything, especially negative, not her normal happy self that she used to be all the time, I right away flagged, like, okay, what's going on with her? Like, what is this really about? Because I know it's not about me. And especially working with people new, right? And I was in the depths of hell for a long time. I would say a lot of things to push people away or to mask the truth because it was scary. It was painful. I didn't want anyone to not like me. I didn't want anyone to judge me. Oh, we got a Dave Hall said, the truth is in the eye of the beholder.
Hey.
Yes, ding. So, Ange, what do you say? I know that you have a big heart. You wear it on your sleeve. So, when someone says something to you that you instantly, you know, maybe it's directed at you or you take offense to, like, what is your first thought? And how do you, like, push that aside? Like, how do you not take that personally? I want to hear your wisdoms.
All I know is I need to get out of my head. They say, specifically Bridge has told me that it's not a safe place to be alone. And so what did I do today? I went over to her house and I talked to her about things in my life that I was struggling with. And all I got was love, acceptance, and feedback from their own experiences, which that's literally what AANA, the program, has taught me. So I don't have a knee-jerk reaction. I tend to people please and just go, go, go. What I learned before, but specifically today, Bridge was suggesting to just pause. I don't have to give an answer right away. I don't have to do these things. And I can take the time to process and just ask for a minute. Also, if there's people in your life who stress you out, or if, like you're talking about, if it takes more effort and hurts more than like helps, then I need to make a boundary. I need to protect myself there. So if I have a friendship who, there's so many people in recovery who are either using other chemicals to get by. And I take medication. So I'm grateful that I can understand and have empathy and see that there's not only one way, which is a little bit different from what I was taught specifically with AA. For 18 years, I thought there's only one way pretty much to be sober. And I know that recovery is for everybody, and the disease doesn't discriminate. I also was thinking about, just quickly, hopefully I don't go into a rabbit hole too much, just with religion too, there is one ultimate truth, right? And it's all, we get there from different ways, different pathways. We all have different experiences. Specifically, Christianity says there's only one way, and I've always struggled with that. And who knows, maybe that is the truth, and maybe I want to check off all the boxes, I tell you that. Sadly, I tend to learn the hard way at most things. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to learn the hard way. You don't have to struggle and fall necessarily to learn. Also, go easy on yourself, like you were saying. The obsession, it comes out in so many different ways, not just addiction. It's the escape. It's what we try not to think about. So what happens when you try not to think about something? Well, you're going to think about it more. So it's really, life is a big trip. It's quite weird, and I'm on it for the long haul, hopefully one day at a time. I just heard another alarm, though. What does that mean?
Oh, that's typically when we would do the hot seat, but guess what? You're already on it.
Hey-o,
Literally.
I feel hot.
Right? I feel hot here too. Well, now this room doesn't have AC. What's going on? That's beautiful, and I think it's so crucial to, because boundaries I used to look at as like this wall. It's mean. I'm being cruel, and now we're reading the Book of Boundaries books, and it keeps to keep it simple. It's just setting it's like putting a gate around yourself. Not, I picture a white picket fence. You're not putting a wall. You're putting a gate. Why? To keep things safe, right? So your kids, your pets aren't running out the yard, right? But when people come up, you can let them in as you want. Where I was doing the isolating, that's when those walls were coming up. I was protecting myself from anybody finding out anything because I didn't know myself, right? I didn't trust myself. I didn't know my truth. So, but boundaries are, now I've learned, are just for people that you love, for the people that you do want in your life. It's important because a lot of times, the other people I had to set boundaries with didn't even know where I was coming from, didn't even know I had an issue, right? Because I tried to be too nice all the time.
Story of my childhood.
So real boundaries are two things. They're kind and they're clear, okay? You got to keep them clear and you got to put them out there. Otherwise, you can't give people the benefit of the doubt. If they don't know, I don't know what I don't know. If you don't tell me something, how am I going to know, right? But I found that for me, it's crucial. I had to set boundaries, and I've learned now there's different levels, green, yellow, red. But once I hit my bottom of bottoms and I became angry, I used that anger in a healthy way, luckily. But I set a very harsh red boundary, and I said, for my mental health and for my recovery, I can't have you in my life right now. And boom, I said that out to everybody because I was in just such a toxic state myself. I didn't know who was healthy and not healthy. I couldn't be around nothing. I kept playing that game for 17 years. But here's what's great is I find even just like with roommates or my friends or coworkers, when something I can't, when I'm reflecting, I like to say self-reflecting or checking in. I don't I know inventory scares people. See, I'm a covert 12-stepper. But I find that for me, the self-reflection and check-in at night with a power greater than myself is crucial because one, like I said, is I have to find something that was good in the day. More for me, where I'm at right now, I need to find something that I completed, that I had on my list, but something that I feel good inside, satisfaction in. As soon as I do that, boom, it like lightens the load of, I didn't do all the things again. What am I doing in life? It helps restore my balance. But I think also, especially with other people, it is so easy for me to be by myself and my children. Like I have this tendency, I'm okay. My whole childhood was like that. Just be in my safe place by myself. But humans, as human beings, we need connection. And, but I have to do it with boundaries because if I don't, that's where I was getting like, what do they call it? Salt in the wounds. All the people I was there for, at the end of the day, none of them, they turned their back on me. I was in the hospital multiple times and they were done with me. And I'm not even mad at them. But the ones that I set the boundaries with everybody. But here's the thing. I'd say about 5 to 10 people came back, and they're like, yes, of course, I understand, and I'll give you your space. And a lot of them, though, did not ask to come back in, and I haven't seen them since. And you know what? I don't miss them because that speaks volumes. But the ones, I won't throw out names, but the ones that matter, they're here in my life. I'd say at least 5 that I know love me for me through the thick and thin, no judgments, and that's a true trust, genuine relationship, right? And then the ones, they're still like in my outer circle and I'm still going to care and whatever about them. And they've asked to come back and, I'm still hesitant, but I let them know right away, no, there won't be alcohol or use at my house, period. I can't be around it. And because I could have a reason, that's thoughts, intrusive thoughts will come in. I see you do this, all good. Well, maybe. I think more for me, I get set off when I see close people using every day it looks like they're having a good time, and I stand here by myself saying, "Oh, recovery's great," and I'm gonna let you talk because otherwise I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole.
No, I'm definitely on the same page as you. We did mention this earlier when I was talking about my situation. I got to attend my first pig, the NA camp out this weekend. Yeah, the dynamics, in my perception and my opinion, were different. I am in a different position in my life. I'm currently in treatment at Fellowship Recovery so I can have my children there. So I went with my treatment people. I've been told recently more than once by more than one person that I need to stay in the middle of the herd. So what that means to me is I need to show up and I need to get in the middle. I need to ask for help. I need to tell on myself. There was say of people staying up all night and doing shotguns with Red Bulls and whatever, and it's like I probably had a few too many Red Bulls and I stayed up most of the night. I slept in my car. I was like, whoa, what am I doing here? Does this really align with my recovery? It was fun, you know. I mean, it was something that I wanted to do and something that I could have left. I drove myself. That's one thing too. I definitely, if you can show up, that's where you're gonna find the most action, if you're actually taking the steps to get there. I had the same type of situation where I divorced my husband we were together 17 years, and I got out on my own and slowly started falling into using poor choices, surrounding myself with people who I thought were safe, and they turned out to not be. So even when I asked for help, I feel like if there is a higher power that was looking out for me, and to figure out what my will versus God's will was, I had to stumble and pretty much lose it all to get to the next chapter in my life. And I really am grateful to be able to come back here and to still have, my life, my family, at least my kids. You know, I have a capacity to show up for them. So yeah, there's a lot to be grateful for. I guess that's what I really need to focus on, is all the good that's happening in my life, because I feel pretty hopeless and desperate right now. And I guess it's for recovery. I keep showing up. I keep coming to the meetings. I'm of service when I can be. We have meetings at Will Work for Recovery every day at 1. So if you guys need somewhere to hang out this summer, we'll definitely be doing that for sure through the summer. I run the meeting on Mondays, and so I'll just plug that a little bit. But yeah, there's always something to do.
Do they still do Sunday Fun Days?
They do every other week, Sunday Fun Day at Will Work for Recovery. That's on 2nd Avenue in Minneapolis.
Oh, I love that place. Oh my gosh, it's so cool with couches, the basement. It's like
Food.
Anybody's basement. Lots of food. Mm-hmm. But Will Work for Recovery. Okay, I'm glad you brought the action piece into it. So again, with me being a natural hermiter, it was really hard for me to push myself to get over my anxiety and people. And so to stop the thinking is I had to be action-based. Just do. Stop thinking. Do. And force myself. So it took a long time. But one thing I found is I always say this, though. I find a piece of recovery every day. Whatever that looks like. It could be a daily reading. Exactly. It could be a meeting. It could be just reaching out to one of my spotsy sisters or sponsor or, whatever, or just reading. And lately I've been into like recovery dharma. Now here's what I love about it. Because I instinctively do not like be feeling uncomfortable. Who does, right? But
welcome it.
Right.
A nice warm blanket.
Yes. In fact, now I've gotten to this point where I'm like, ooh, this is really uncomfortable.
Call it out.
This is really awkward. This is really painful. Mm-hmm. And instead of immediately trying to fix it, immediately trying to distract myself, immediately trying to, process, I just sit and listen to myself. Okay, but read this reading. So Recovery Dharma, I go on Wednesdays. It's fantastic. There's one every day.
At the Lyric Building, 7 p.m.
Yes.
That's 7 or 6?
6 p.m.
Oh, sorry, 6.
And here's what's beautiful. So and I'm new to this book, so that's why I really enjoy going, is we're reading stuff that's like new to me, but I love this piece of, it says, in general, there's a lot of truth in the cliche that burdens are lighter when they're shared, right? Ooh. Yes. Most of us have felt like an enormous weight has been removed from our shoulders when we made the choice to not be alone with our problems anymore. And as we experience that relief, we find that asking for help becomes easier and easier. The truth for many of us is that when we first come into recovery, we may not immediately have easy access to our inner wisdom. I underline that with a heart. Many of us have been relying on the delusion of fear and shame and reactivity as our guides.
Say that again.
Many of us have been relying on the delusion
Yep.
of fear and shame and reactivity as our guides in life. And it takes time to lift those veils, to dig through those layers in order to break those habits and begin in seeing clearly. Boom, that stuck out to me. So that moment, I realized how much I have grown. Okay, in 3 years, I feel like I finally trust myself. I can go into my inner wisdom. How? I fucking know myself, Angie. I didn't even know who I was, okay? I didn't know what my truths were. I didn't know what my values were. I didn't know what I enjoyed in everyday life. My whole life was taking care of people around me because I felt like that is the only way I'm worthy of love.
And control. Control.
Yes, and control kept me safe. But mostly at the end of the day, I don't know if anybody realizes this, but for a long time, I would go to meetings, I wouldn't share. I never was there early. I was never there late. Why? The truth is, in the beginning, I didn't feel like I belonged. I did not feel worthy enough to be there. I thought, yes, I have a problem, but I'm not good enough to be here. Isn't that crazy? A room full of alcoholics, addicts. I'm like,
I think a lot of people think.
they're not going to think I can be a part of this. They're not going to think I'm qualified. They're not going to think I'm enough. Right? And I felt like my story wasn't good enough. That's how messed up I was my whole life. Is I never felt good enough even to be in any community ever. Okay? Straight up abandonment issues. Got it. But that still resonates with me. And so especially when I feel uncomfortable or insecure or like I'm not qualified, I find that like I love going to learn and listen, and I love being around other people with the similar mindsets that they seek knowledge. And but I get intimidated when they're specifically in a field. They've written a book, they've started an organization, they have some expertise. Well, I've done a little of this, a little of that, a little of this. Okay, I have lived experience, but I had to live through some shitty ass experiences. So that, okay, here's what my therapist said: don't go down the shame spiral bridge. That's where my brain goes. I go down that shame spiral of my story isn't. No one wants to hear why I'm qualified. I don't get to be here. So
You still think that?
I have to still so that's my assignment this week.
Yeah.
How to anchor myself in authenticity of my value, my why.
I have an affirmation for you. I just saw
Yes.
this. I don't know if you'd call it a meme. It says shame off of you. Jessica from the group posted that. I hear so many people say shame on you, and it hurts me to hear that because the shame is what keeps our spirit dead. It's like we continue that cycle of self-harm, and it's like a delusion as well. I mean, I battle that every day, the positive and negative. What is the truth, and what am I building? Am I building a life worth living? Yeah. And I've seen you grow so much. I mean, the things that you're saying, I'm like, who is that? Who was that? And I do know that this sounds silly, but our souls are connected for a reason. And that's kind of how I live my life too, is I just share everything, the wealth of everything. Mm-hmm. It's not money, it's just resources. That's what we're called to do.
Resource brokers.
Right, yeah. So I just wanted to say that little tidbit. Thank you.
And that saying, we're just doing all the sayings. I love this one. I'll just keep going, you keep going. But you can't keep what you have unless you give it away. I didn't understand that for a year. Why do they keep saying that? I don't get that. But I was too scared to ask anyone because I didn't want them to know I was dumb. Or I thought I was dumb. You know what I mean? That I wasn't capable of understanding something that seemed so simple to them. But nobody explained it to me, and I felt too embarrassed to ask. So all you out there, I want you to know, if you were like me, you can't keep what you have unless you give it away. That is, for me, wisdom. Your story. Oh, it makes me want to cry. I feel so honored when people share their story because to me, they're giving me a piece of their pain that I can connect to them with. Like, I wasn't such a piece of shit, for me, I wasn't that bad in the sense of not that, oh, you're bad. Like, cool, we're bad together. Like, I wasn't alone. I hate that saying, but how a lot of people perceive, or how I perceived it, because they have a tone when they say, "You're not a unique individual." You know, that's one of the sayings. Well, here, say it the correct. Here's how I perceive it. It took me a long time to perceive it. This is the way that I would want other people to perceive it, and it should have been perceived, in my opinion. Shoulda. You're not unique in the sense of you're not alone. Okay, you're not unique in all that suffering and pain I was going through. Wasn't unique. Oh, I love that. But the way I heard it in a lot of men's meetings, or just actually any meetings, is like, you're not unique. Is like, you're not special. So I like to flip that and say, it means that you weren't alone in your shit. Like, we all get it. We're all here with you. And so, like, for me, that's heartwarming. So anytime I repeat that, that's how I say it in a loving manner. But again, it's all in perception. And that's why I feel like, as a female, born female, in my environment and in my culture, I'm expected to always be the caretaker. Marriage and relationships, and that should be my spot. Not to mention working full time, not to mention, doing all the things. But where I was never even on my list, let alone last on my list. So, okay, you want to share the reading?
Yeah.
So I was like, I wanted to pick one word, keep it simple. And when we looked into the one book, The Tree, it was talking about perception, right? Because we're talking about it's none of your business, what people think about you, how do you get over that? Guess what my affirmation for the inner child, Raquel Lerner, July 16th is? Perspective.
Perspective.
Do you mind reading it?
Yeah, sure. If I can.
Then we're gonna get into these.
Perspective. I see myself through the eyes of my inner child. How silly is it to sit on chairs when the floor isn't half as crowded? Yay. Besides, you never fall off the floor. In fact, sitting is pretty silly when you can roll, jump, run, or tumble. Grown-ups are really silly on the telephone. Sometimes their voices change and they sound like the people who do commercials. Unbelievably polite. That's not me. Okay. Another thing, adults say goodbye 40 times before they ever leave their friends' houses. I could play 10 games of Parcheesi between the time you say clean up the mess and we finally walk out. Today I will see my adult self through the eyes of my inner child.
And that's what a lot of the monks and, like, I call them the bastards of life, okay? The prophets. At the end of the day, a lot of the main points is to really be in the present moment, right? And the easiest way for me to do that is as a child with my children, especially my 5-year-old. Literally just being silly, okay? Literally at Walmart, the shopping cart there's a hill. I was by myself, okay? Didn't even have the kids with me. And I was like, it'd be so much faster to just roll this one. I could jump on it and roll it. I did it, because, like, I'm by myself. And I was hot. And, like, I just wanted, whatever. So I'm riding the cart, and I see people looking at me. I don't care what they're thinking, because it was fun. But why don't I do that anymore? Why don't I love just sitting on the floor. Like, I like that reading about the voices, like on the phone. I can hear it. We could hear it in conversations. I just look at it from my child's perception of things, especially when I'm having like an interaction. I immediately try to visualize what they're seeing, my facial expression, because there's so many times they pointed out to me, but Mom, you look stressed out. But Mom, you look upset. But Mom, you look angry. So I'm trying to be the rock, put up the bass like it's all good. But they can see right on my face, or they can hear it in my voice, So it's just trying to be in the present moment. And there's so many techniques and tools out there. But really, at the end of the day, the masters, they said, if you can get to the level of looking in your, where you're at right now, from the outside perspective, everything that you do, okay? That's what the masters are able to do. They're not like me and you looking at each other. They are able to, like, visualize outside of ourselves. Could you imagine? Okay.
I've tried it a couple times.
Training, but just that's your immediate go-to. Wow. Could you imagine? But I think I've gained some mastery just in the small piece of never take anything personally. Seriously, try it. Practice. Practicing is the key. Like with the boundaries and saying no. I've finally gotten pretty good at it, especially, with service work or something someone's asked me to do. What did I tell you? I sit down. Oprah gave me this advice. Not personally, I wish. What is the intention? Okay, what's their intention? Then what is my intention? Okay, and if it's not for the right reasons, or I'm not going to get, gain some wisdom or grow from it, I'm not going to do it. It's not to be mean, and it's okay. It's okay. Okay, let's wrap it up with the beeves. You ready? Any final thoughts? We got a lot of thoughts that are going to go with these beeves.
Well, I do, really quick.
Yes.
I have hope for our future, for our children, because we are, this sounds silly, the enlightened ones. I feel like we have the tools or power to pass this on to our kids, and they are a direct mirror of us, and I really love that about having children. But yeah, she said memes. I'm like the meme queen.
And so, I got to do the sound effects.
That's all I share on Facebook. Some are inappropriate, most are inappropriate, and I'm going to try to relate a lot of the memes to our perspective today.
And they just bring me little pieces of joy.
Yeah.
Okay? Because even if I, didn't get this done, or I didn't get joy from baking a new cake, I was trying this new cupcake, whatever, silicone pan. It was fun, and it turned out fine. It was great or whatever, but I was like, I didn't get as much joy as I thought I was going to get. I didn't even want to take any pictures.
I'll find a meme for that.
Oh, okay, yeah. But summertime, I don't know if it's my astrology side or whatever. Summer is definitely. Oh, I can look at my patterns. It's my time that I'm very 0 to 10. It could be one way or the other. Okay, it's playing its little weird ad thing, so I just gotta get back. Oh, don't loop that. Okay, get back. But the beebs will just. I think we got like 9 of them, and oh my god, this app is so goofy.
I get to describe them to you.
Yeah, so again, I personally, I see YouTube all the time. I don't watch shit. I'm always listening. I just have my earbuds in. So for those that are just listening, please feel free to just read, describe the meme before you give it away. I think it kind of makes it more fun. Oh, here we go. Finally. Okay, no more ads. Oh, turn up the volume. See, it's playing an ad again. And now I clicked on the ad. Oh, here we go. And there we go. Theme time, everybody. All right, and we got 8 minutes. We can do it. Okay, beep number 1. I had to start it off with what you sent me, SpongeBob. I love him.
Okay, so SpongeBob, I mean, he can't really say much other than he just looks like him. It says, her, you want to go upstairs? Me, sure. Her, you have protection? Me, why? What's up there? So, I mean, really.
That's beautiful.
And someone else has a different plan than we do, so really ask the questions, people.
And here, it's SpongeBob. You know, that's the naive, like, happy-go-lucky. Uh-oh, what's up there?
Yeah.
Is you don't go into the gutter.
Yeah.
Typically. Okay. This one's, Sarah gave you this one. Read this one. It's the sign.
All right, yeah, a sign you'd put on your wall. I do not have ducks or a row. I have squirrels, and they're everywhere.
My ducks are never in a row. As squirrel wide is very much my go.
ADHD for me.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Ooh. Ready for this one? This one's for Ashley. Shout out.
Shout out. So it's a hippie-looking woman with her shades on.
Cute.
Chilling. I don't expect everything to be handed to me. Just set it down wherever.
And that's just like, I feel like that's kind of powerful, you know. That's confidence. I think it's cute, and I like it. You know?
I agree.
You know, it's okay to be full of yourself as long as you're not an asshole. Okay. Ooh, I like this one. Read that one.
This girl looks like Cher on Clueless, but she has brown hair, and her arms are up in the air. All right, the first banner says, no, does not mean convince me. No is a full sentence.
Correct. Do you find that, have you had, now see, I don't know if you've had much practice, but when you're setting a boundary, or you just say, you know, no, I'm going to pass on that. Or no, I don't agree with your side, aka let's talk about harm reduction, okay? For me, you can't help a dead addict, okay? First of all, I hate the term addict, but that's the lingo, or whatever. So I don't give a fucks what other people say when they're like, no, they need to do it this way. It needs to be this absolute space. If they're reducing harm and not dying, I'm okay with that. And if you have a problem with it, maybe you need to step aside and let the professional do their job. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, when I say no, this is my stance. Unless I say, hey, let's have a conversation, which I've done and people have denied, but they want to continue to debate, that's when I take my pause and I walk away.
Yep.
Okay.
Pause.
Yes. Oh, it's hard to see.
Do you want to describe that one?
Yes, this one rings true to like the Four Agreements. It's a beautiful. It's like a cool dark picture with a darker shadow of a woman, but she's holding this light ball of light, and it says, "Abracadabra" is actually a Hebrew phrase meaning "I create what I speak." Now listen to this. You know, magic. Words are magic. Why? Because there can be so much power for good or for bad, right?
I agree.
Okay.
Abracadabra. Okay, this is one I sent in. Kermit is looking at himself with a hooded black
Dark.
what do you
version
call
of
that?
himself.
Yeah.
Villain.
Okay, I better leave. I'm going to be late. Inner me. The later you are, the less time you got to be there. So I actually live my life by these principles. I show up to things late, and I usually get in for free. And sometimes I get leftovers or whatever the case might be, and I tend to leave early too so I can beat the traffic. But yeah, so it's me against me all day, every day.
Oh, yes. So this visual of Kermit is me. I guess I'm my own worst enemy. But see how you read it? Now look, here's my perception of how I would read it. Inner me is the dark villain. You gotta do it in the villain voice. So better leave. I'm going to be late. Inner me is like, the later you are, the less time you gotta be there. So, this is true. There are certain things where I'm like, I got some time. And then there's things where I'm like, you know, like bad moms, I like to just be early. I try.
Yep.
Ooh, Tupac.
With his shirt off. Looking back. He says, sometimes you need your feelings hurt so you can wake up, focus on you and your goals. And I need the inner Tupac to come out often and really, like you're saying, hurt my feelings because I need to hear the hard truth that I might not be ready to hear. It just works that way with me and my higher power. Sometimes I'm willing and receptive, and sometimes I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Right. Well, here's the thing is, you know, especially when I get my go-to is anger, right away, I know it's because I'm hurt. And depending on the person, I will process it. Now, DBT taught me anger is a healthy emotion if you use it for, you know, good, like help to do good. Okay. So I love it when I get angry. I love when someone pisses me off because guess what? I'm going to get 10 things done and tell 10 people off that I've been just sitting on it. But it's not about them, right? Specifically, it might be something that I need to address. Now I have the fuel to address it. Of course, with the person, now this is, mind you, a person I care about. I don't want to flood that anger on them because it is directly, you know. So that's how I use that power, literally. So prime example, my daughter at her school, there was a lot of things going on, okay? I was angry at the school, okay? I was angry with the things going on. But I was also angry about some other things that happened. I had this interaction with the principal, okay? He's a good person, okay? He has a hard job. I get it. He, however, was rude to my roommate who came there to speak on behalf of my daughter. They asked us, we all came there to speak for our help. She interrupted him. Oh my God, she interrupted. How dare you invited us here to speak. She interrupted you. He cut her off and was like, excuse me, don't interrupt me, and ran his mouth. And I let him run his mouth because I didn't want to interrupt him, man. And by then I realized I had some fueled up anger from some other things. And I let him have it in a very nice way. But I stuck to what DBT taught me is evidence-based facts. So I said, hold on a sec. So my friend over there, by the way, is a retired teacher. Okay, this was in the back of my mind. And I said, he didn't know that, but I said, okay, so see how you're acting right now? See, your face is red. Your facial expression is very angry right now, okay? And if you talk to her, a grown adult like that, I can't imagine how you talk to my daughter. I was like, that is exactly why we're here and we have a problem. And then luckily I was like, about to lose it because he stared at me, right? So then, of course, my ex, who knows me pretty well, kind of stepped in with some words and some kindness. I was like, okay, oh, we're getting a little heated, but let's step back. But guess what? I made my valid point in the heat of that moment because I had this builder. But that was like all the relief that I needed. It was healthy. I stood up for my friend. I stood up for my daughter. And I proved my point to this dude who's just like, you gotta let an adult talk to you? I can't imagine. But he just proved my daughter right. That he's rude and sometimes the way he addresses things. And, I understand they deal with that as kids. But that's my point is, you get to this point with practicing and practicing. Instead of taking anger out the people that is in front of your face that you love, you don't want to hurt, walk away, okay? Find another way. A lot of people exercise or you drive or whatever, but utilize it. For me, I'll use it to get things I've been putting on the back burner that I need to get done. I use it to fuel that because I'm so riled up physically. Okay, sorry, tangent. Keep going.
Oh, I love this one. It's the little bat from Fern Gully. Oh, it was Robin Williams did the voice, and he had little antennas that buzzed his brain or whatever. Okay, so it shows the bat with his wings above his eyes and his mouth's open. He looks pretty distressed. 13-year-old me, scared to be a weirdo. Okay, I can relate. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then he's peeking under his wing. It says 18-year-old me, realizing other people are also weird. Yes. Now he gets a little confidence, and it says, actually a lot of confidence. He looks pretty intense. Yeah. 25-year-old me trying to be as weird as possible to scare my family. I mean, I would do that to everybody. Yeah. And then now he just looks, in the last little frame, he looks goofy and happy and himself. 30-year-old me, totally content with my level of weird. Right? That's me. Okay.
I love weirdness now. I used to be so uncomfortable with my weirdness. Now I'm let my weird flag fly. Because I'm going to attract the other weirdos. And there's still capacity weirdos I can't handle. It's not good for me.
I don't know if they call that weird.
Yeah, strange and scary. Yeah. But for the most part, that's why I immediately went to moth to flame of fire. Because I'm attracted to someone who's just open and out and blunt and real about their shit. And will sometimes say things you're like, oh, I can't believe she just said that. Ooh, I like her. Because that's where I'm finally at. It took me almost 40 years to finally just be upfront with my shit. But I'd rather put it out there. People don't like me, just go over there. And people like me, well, we're going to be weird together.
Perspective. Should we be done? It's 9:02.
Yep. We got to share some here. This is great. Okay, I'll go fast. You ready?
Okay.
So it's like a shopping bag.
I was at Patina.
Oh, this is real?
Towel. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It says, bitch, I am the secret ingredient. I want the towel. Ooh, put that on the list. Okay, this one's longer, but we won't chime off of it. It just is some wisdom. It says, your job is not to make your children become who you want them to become. The things that set them on fire is not for you to choose. Let them feed what they love and watch them burn to the horizon. They burn to the horizon. They are the fire, and you, mama, get to dance in the light. Ooh, goosebumps. Yes. So especially with my daughter, I'm she's just on fire right now. She's finding herself, and I'm just going to dance. I'm going to look forward to this new level.
I think that's how the universe or higher power, God, looks at us too. Yeah. We're a work in progress.
Yeah. Okay, this is Linus, right? Just read. It's funny. Don't look at the picture. Just read the words at the top first.
When you're waiting for the cop to bring your license back and 2 more squad cars pull up.
Fuck.
Yeah, little baby Linus says fuck.
Yeah, because you tried to get through the stuff, say buying it until they had to go check your shit. You're like, uh-oh. Last one. It's just words. This is for you, Ange. I picked this one just for you to final up with. You inspire people who pretend to not even see you.
Okay.
Keep going.
Dang.
It's true,
I know
though.
my worth, bitch.
It's true, though. And I think for whatever reason, that would be I'd sit in the back. There'd be so many people. I'm like, they're so awesome. I know they're. I want to be us or whatever. I would never talk to them. I would never look at them. I just was too, whatever. But I saw them for sure. They come in the room. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to hear what they're gonna share. Oh, why did they leave early? Dang it! I wish they invited me. That's never gonna happen.
Invite yourself. That's my advice.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Facebook user said, this is me laughing out loud. Me or picture. I'm so bad. What are those things called? Emojis. Emoji. Another Facebook user said 100. Well, thank you everybody for listening in and interacting. I definitely encourage you next week. Is next week the 30th?
I have no idea.
I know that
I live
Mike's
in
coming
today,
back on the
Bridge.
30th. Okay, me too. I don't even know what next week is, but I will make sure now that I'm on this plan. No more big posts, extravagant posts. I'm just going to show up Sundays, 8 o'clock live. Please join me. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. And let's put on the Kick-Ass Going Home music.